Um, you guys want me to introduce you, or you want to introduce yourself?
You can introduce us.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm gonna let you.
Okay, that's fine.
So you can go like, hi,
Hi, I'm
I'm
Caitlin.
Corbett. I'm in charge of whatever divisions and.
Guest services.
Okay.
Okay.
¿Listo? Avisa. Puta, nunca avisa.
Do you have a direction we prefer we look?
Yeah.
Just at you?
This is your camera,
Okay.
so you can like look at whoever is
Whoever.
talking. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
Okay.
¿Listo? Like. Hola chicos, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a este episodio especial de Don't Stop the Travel. Estamos aquí con tres de nuestros más grandes amigos. Estamos con un delegado de GeoVisions, uno de nuestros principales sponsors, y dos de nuestras mejores host companies que tenemos. Una es Busch Garden y la otra es Mount Rainier. Este episodio lo vamos a hacer en inglés porque ellos hablan en inglés. Entonces, pues porfa enciendan los subtítulos. Si no nos suscriben, empiecen a seguirnos ya. Compartan esto a sus amigos y aprendan un poquito más del programa. Hoy vamos a hablar de la experiencia que es para las empresas recibir a participantes de intercambio y cómo ellos han visto que las experiencias de internacionalización han mejorado la vida de sus participantes. Entonces vamos a hablar un ratico sobre esto y porfa, si tienen preguntas o comentarios los van dejando ahí en los comments. ¿Listo? So hi guys again, I'm Sebastian Martinez, like for the ones who doesn't know me. And I'll just like letting you guys to introduce yourself so you can go crazy over your titles and whatever you're doing at your companies. So would you like to start, Brandy?
Sure. Good afternoon. My name is Brandy Frederick. I'm the Senior Director of West Coast Operations for Guest Services. I oversee Mount Rainier National Park, Big Sur Lodge in California, and then North Cascades Lodge in North Cascades National Park as well. So.
Okay, and now your turn.
Hi, my name is Caitlin. I am the recruitment manager at Busch Gardens. I oversee all of our hiring and onboarding, specifically for our domestic workers, but I work very closely with our J1 program.
Okay, and finally you, sir.
My name is Corbett Cummins. I am the Director of Program Management, which means I oversee the relationships with GeoVisions and all of our host companies, which is why I'm here with these two lovely people.
Yeah. So as I was saying to our viewers, we're going to talk about how wonderful our the international experience for a lot of participants and how they can be impacting your community while in the U.S. and how much you have learned about foreigner students while they're in the program. So I think as me myself was part of the program back in the days. I'm getting old. I say that much, like back in my day. Like making a decision or which company I'm gonna be working, it seems like to be such a hard and big decision that can definitely give like a lot of expectations on where I'm getting and who's gonna be my boss, what I'm gonna be doing. And I'm pretty sure that most participants can feel like disappointed at the very beginning or like overwhelmed is like not like something in between is just like too bad or too good.
Yeah.
But while they're in the program, you start like feeling it and like enjoying your experience. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, I would say, generally that you want to give it a couple of weeks because everyone kind of has a bit of culture shock. The flavors, the experience, it's a life change. However, once you start giving it that time to really immerse yourself in what you're going to experience, you start to see and feel the difference. And it's a big part of community. I think you get to be able to experience a lot of fun through the process, meet a lot of different people, and share your country and your culture with others. So, giving it that first couple of weeks really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and I think being open-minded to that as well. I think the best part about this program, yeah, it's to work and to travel, but it's also to network and to build the relationships I know at Busch Gardens, we hire from many different countries. You're going to be interacting with students from all over the world, as well as our American workers, and working with them hand in hand. So a willingness and an openness to new experiences I find is really important. But I totally agree with the adjustment period. I would say it takes a minimum of 2 weeks to really start to feel comfortable and to start to meet people.
And it's good to keep in mind that first couple of days are probably going to be the worst of your entire program.
Yeah.
Because things are going to happen as you go on. I mean, at the end of those first couple of weeks, you're going to get your first paycheck, and that's going to feel really good. Really good.
Okay.
You know, but other things, like you mentioned, you're going to meet friends. Like day 1, you have no friends. Day 7, you probably already have 20 friends. Your English is going to get better. You're not even going to feel it. It's going to be so difficult and so challenging as in those first couple of weeks, as it gets better. And then one day you'll just find yourself speaking in perfect English to your manager about your hours that you need.
Like, not even like perfect, but like
not ready, but better than you would have. More secure and better than probably you
More
would have
confident.
imagined.
The thing is like, well, when I did the program, I wasn't like really expecting about like having this huge impact about like how different is the English level and how like really deep is like that experience. And I struggle a lot, and I already had like a pretty good English level back in the day. So I started like thinking like how like that people that is like really struggling before the program, like just to apply to the program, is gonna feel once they're there. And I started like noticing that people were like, you know, like not that open, usually kind of shy, staying just at their housing or their dormitory, because they weren't able to communicate, and they were like so frustrated.
Well,
that's
and
not,
Americans
like,
speak very quickly,
well,
which
yeah,
is hard. It's
and
definitely
just
hard.
like also the slangs, accents,
Accents, yeah.
and just like I remember being at Walmart one time, and I was asking something to one of the clerks, like, excuse me, ma'am, or I think it was a dude. Excuse me, sir. And he turns out is like, huh? Giving like that kind of thing, and I was like, okay, that wasn't like in the English program plan at all. Like, what does that mean? Like, is he mad, or like he's actually asking me something? But like, that was like absolutely rude.
Yeah,
And
that
like,
was
huh?
I think there's a couple things to keep in mind. I did a study abroad, and so I've definitely been in a city where nobody spoke my language, and there are 2 things to pay attention to that'll help you understand yourself as you're going through that. And the one is like to understand that it is like it takes energy to think that hard, to be translating and to be talking to somebody. It's exhausting, and it makes you more tired. And I think some people, they feel that, and then they don't understand it, and it gets frustrating because they're like, why am I tired? I've just been talking. That's nothing. And then you can start to shut down if you think that way. And so just understand that that's okay. Some people use the phrase like social battery. Like you have a certain amount of energy, but when you run out, and that's okay. But on the flip side of that, kind of what you're saying is being out there, getting those experiences is the only way your English is going to get better. So even if be aware that you're running out of energy, but the more time you spend out talking with people, maybe it's just maybe it's just people that you work with, or maybe it's friends you've made outside of work, or maybe it is talking, going to Walmart and talking to people, strange people there. Find a place that's comfortable for you, but talk to people in English, because that's the only thing, or experience it in some way. We were talking earlier, maybe watching television helps too, and that works out. So maybe being inside, but that reaction to like, this is hard, I don't know why I'm tired, I'm just not going to do this, that's going to ruin your program. That's the part that's really.
Or I'm just going to rely on the guy that actually is more fluent in English.
Right. Yeah. Those shortcuts, like they don't help. The more you just say, I'm going to be the one talking, I'm going to make myself do this translation, the better you're going to be.
And I will say, from an employer perspective too, if there's some kind of issue, we need to solve a problem, we have to talk to that person. We can't talk to your friend who can speak English better. So the more skills that you have and the more comfortable you get with your English skills, the easier it's going to be. But you have to give it time. It's the only thing that there is. But
That's the
I think
thing.
there's things you can do too. You can look up where you're going. You can.
The funny part is like kids nowadays.
There you go.
I see some gray
There you go
hairs up
again.
there.
So the thing is, like, kids nowadays, they don't listen, and like this kind of spaces will allow them to listen more deep into what we're saying. Not like even like Instagram or like a guy that randomly is like trying to inspire them, or even their parents. They don't listen to anybody. They have to get like their own conclusions. And I remember having this conversation how great was gonna be like your English level if you start when you were like 6. It's like, yeah, like probably the best time of your life for planting a tree was like 20 years ago, but the second best time of your life for planting a tree is today.
It's now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's now, because a lot of people will just like let this kind of programs just slip away because they're like not ready. And actually, like quite of the New Year's Eve and like the end of the year is kind of a perfect timing for promoting this kind of programs, because also one of our wishes or projects is like learning a second language or traveling abroad or studying more. So we're like kind of related to the New Year wishes and commitments. And yeah, I think like at some point we should start like keep returning to the track of being like always better. And this kind of stressful situations, because just like the whole experience is going to be a roller coaster of emotions.
Oh,
It's not going to be just like
throughout the
smiles. Like you're
entire
going to
time.
cry.
Yeah.
You're going to call home and saying like
And
I
we
want to
have
go
roller
back.
coasters.
Oh,
You
do
actually,
have
yeah.
roller-
Speaking of somebody who actually,
roller
yeah, works with
coasters.
roller coasters.
That's funny. It is, you are stretching yourself, but you're stretch yourself already to get into the program, to fly across the waters, to get to whatever destination you're going to. But I think really the other thing to understand is that there's other folks from even that country within and other countries that are looking for that same engagement. So the more that you allow yourself to engage and that you stretch yourself to evolve to a different level is really important. It sets the tone for your career. I can tell you as somebody who was an exchange student but met many friends throughout my career through this process, this has made lifelong connections for me, and it really has kept me in the industry and at a different level. However, I'm still just as engaged. You know, I've been fortunate enough to be parts of folks' families within their countries, to be able to show up for life events. I know that the students themselves have shared that with other coworkers and that they've been. So it's really allow yourself the freedom to experience it, because there's nobody there to really judge you through that process. You're putting your own judgment on yourself at that point.
Well, that sometimes can be tricky because we're definitely being judged. Not just
I get it, yeah.
not just but by yourself. It's just like even our family members are like,
Okay.
you know, like putting blame is like, oh, that's because like why you weren't on the military just like your grandpa, or those kind of expectations that family members have around us. And actually, whenever you start like a project, like the first ones that start like putting like brakes on your projects are like your more close people around you. Like when I started this business, my mom told me that I was gonna fail like in the city like 8 years ago, and like 3,000 participants that we have sent abroad. After I'm like, well, thanks God I was gonna fail. Like otherwise I wouldn't put like that much effort, right? Those kind of situations, and that definitely life is gonna challenge you and gonna put you on test. And yeah, like people is gonna be hard on you, but you should
Always,
know
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But,
But
but
this-
you're being harder on yourself
Yeah.
through that process,
Sure.
I think, in many ways. You're allowing the pressure of others to kind of carry that with you. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say is let that shell break. You've taken the step, you've understood, you're communicating with your family and your coworkers at a different level. But I think there's a sense of confidence that you start to, particularly as you get through those first couple of weeks and forward, and then there's a piece that you bring back, I would imagine, to your life when you go back to.
Oh yeah.
I always like to remind the participants how brave they are to do this program. It is bravery to sometimes leave your country for the very first time to go somewhere that no one speaks English. It's a completely different culture. And depending on where you are, it's an even different culture. It's going to be different at
like
Mount
subcultures.
Rainier in Washington than it is going to be from Virginia. And in an amusement park, right? Two totally different industries. So it's definitely research where you're going. I think that's going to help you in your first couple of weeks.
Google
and really,
your city, man.
Google, if you use Google, even TikTok, Instagram, find the videos, see the things to do. Make sure that it's somewhere you want to go. But that way you also kind of know what to expect when you're arriving. And that really helps. I can tell the difference when someone has taken the time to research Williamsburg, Virginia versus someone who hasn't.
Yeah.
And the ones who research it tend to have a better program and a better time.
I remember that I was asked on my first work and travel program by my host company, like, why I didn't want to go to Texas. And I didn't know anything about Texas. So I was like, maybe the NASA thing? Like, you mean the Space Center? Absolutely, that Space Center. Like, because I was like, Houston, we have a problem. It's like, it should be still on Houston, right? Like, and I didn't know anything about Houston. Like, nothing to check.
And the
on
United
that.
States is huge.
Right.
Of
It
course,
is.
huge.
Each of the states is like totally different countries, like the time that it takes you to travel between them.
Like
And
distances are
the
and
culture is completely different between the states.
There's huge
everything.
parts of the United States that if
The
you're
weather.
watching this, you've not heard of. And these are huge parts of the United States where thousands of participants on this program will go to that are become like a big part of their experience, and you've never heard of it. And if you go there, you'll never ever in your life forget it. But yeah, it's huge. There's a lot to do and a lot to see. I want to just touch back on you mentioned like being told you're going to fail, and one thing about this program is to understand, like, it is possible to fail, but this program gives you in a very concise amount of time. It's one summer to start from this situation where failure is definitely on the table, but you keep working on it until failure is no longer going to happen, until you've taken it off the table and now you're succeeding. And here's the thing, like, failures, like in life, it's always there.
That's how you grow.
Yeah, you have to be ready. You
grow.
have to, exactly. You have to risk failure. But even if you don't risk failure is always an option. Things can happen. The world can change. So avoiding, the people who would tell you don't do this because it's dangerous and you might fail, like, they're right. But also, like, that's just life. You can't avoid that. They could say that about anything. They could say that about don't go down the street. You could fail. Yeah, you could. But this program is such a great opportunity to challenge that possibility of failure and get through it. And then, as we were talking before, the people when you talk to people who've done the program, they have that confidence. They have that. They have that. I did something where failure was such an option, but guess what? It didn't happen to me, and that carries through from the day you finish through your career. That's something that every participant who gets this program gets to have, and some employers recognize it on their resume, and some employers just see it when they meet them, that extra confidence, and it makes their careers better.
For your company, you've experienced that. That you can talk to these participants and you share your story, whether it's through a podcast or an Instagram story, TikTok, whatever it might be. Like, you have that true experience, and you've done so many programs. You got to see so many ways. So I can't highlight enough talking to people who have done the program before. Even better if you can find someone, the job that you've matched with and where you're going, find someone who's worked there before. Talk to them about it. I think that's so important.
I think it's really rewarding to watch people evolve over the program.
It's what I love the most.
It's the confidence to try different things, the interactions that they're building, their skill sets, even if it's not the career that they're working in, to really understand that's the foundation of habits that you're building through the process is really an amazing way to stretch yourself at a certain point of time, and to watch that in the individuals is really rewarding.
I think, and you learn different cultures, like we were saying in the very beginning, right? Like, it's so important to learn other cultures and share yours with them. We're all people at the end of the day. We are all human beings.
Yeah.
So it doing a program like this offers you that experience that you might not get otherwise.
Yeah, for a lot of participants, it's going to be like their first time outside of the country. It's also going to be their first job. It's going to be like their first bank account.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be his first time in Virginia, his first time in Washington. And that's how we're promoting the Alaska job offers. Like when you're going to have the chance to get and live in Alaska.
And let me tell you, I would kill to go to
Right.
Alaska. I have never been. It is on my bucket list. I want to go.
The bucket list. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I was telling you like 2 days ago, I think, or like yesterday, about how much I regret for not traveling after on those 30-day grace period to go back, because I was like so focused on being productive and making money
Making money, yeah.
that I didn't took that advantage. Like for me, enjoying and having fun was just like spending one day in New Orleans. That was it. Like in my entire summer. Yeah, probably I was like making a shit ton of money, but I was going to spend it later for traveling. So I didn't actually save
Yeah.
anything regarding that. And like exploring the U.S. culture is way more awesome. So I usually can like do the comparison between Americans and Colombians, and like usually people tell me like, oh yeah, they don't face those situations here. Like they don't have poverty. They don't have like, hobos on the streets. Like they do have those issues. They do have issues with people like dropping college, not even attending to college. They do have crime, like big crime scenes and big crime issues too. Like so, like societies have like similar issues. It's not like really related at all how much money you're making or anything like that.
No.
So I think like cultures were not that different. It's not like American culture is way more better than Colombian.
No.
It's just like at some point Colombians we start like stop trusting in who we are, and it's more about identity.
I think Americans do that too.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
know I do it
That's
personally.
definitely.
It-
But you talk about the identity. That's really what I kind of think evolves through this program, is that you're not only you're really focusing on yourself at that point and learning.
You're investing in yourself.
You are investing in yourself, but you're also learning about yourself through that process of how you handle things.
Yeah.
And putting yourself in a situation like this, how rewarding one can feel, even if you do fail.
Right.
Like, what
Yeah.
did you learn
Yeah.
through that process?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a very good point. Even if it falls apart, there's so many lessons to be learned here, and so much you can take from it. There was a fighter, I forget who it was, but his line was, "I've never lost a fight. I've learned some lessons, but I've never lost a fight." And this program is like that. Even if someone says, "Oh, you didn't come back with $30,000, you didn't do this, you're a failure." Like no, like if you learn something about yourself, and you have an experience you can take with you, and I want to add on, like, as in this program you're investing in yourself, you're learning about yourself, you're discovering your identity, and then you're also learning how to interact with other people's identities as you're watching yours grow, you're watching theirs grow, and that's all fun and good, but you all have a job to do too, and so you're learning how to deal with that in the context of the pressure of a very usually a very high-paced job.
Yeah.
We usually make a joke at the office that says that work and travel is great for couples. Either way, you're going to be like the strongest couple ever, love each other for the rest of your life, or you're going to break up in the first week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because that like a lot of couples have issues there, and especially related about like who's going to rely on who. So, yeah, that could be also another test, and probably it's not going to be like whatever you're expecting to be. What maybe it could be like the best decision of your life or your relationship.
People ask me all the time. So we have from a lot of different countries. They travel with their friends. So they want a room with their friends. They want to travel with their friends. They want to just be with their friend group. And I challenge them to
Yeah.
grow outside of that. To okay, you're gonna have a different roommate. You're still gonna see each other every day. You can still hang out all the time. But challenge yourself to have those experiences because that's what's going to make it worth it in the end.
I don't have access to the data on this, but I would bet my house that the data would show the people who get outside their friend groups and get outside their relationships and have those experiences outside the group they traveled with are the ones who have a better time, are the ones who are more successful,
Yep.
the ones who do better at their job, probably get promoted, the ones who come back saying, man, that was awesome. And whereas the ones, the friend groups, they can have a decent time, but they'll come back and not have as much value out of the experience as
Plus,
those who
don't you want to
busted out.
travel to other countries, meet friends in other countries? You go visit them, they come visit you. It's never ending.
Can I ask you guys, on that note, a question? How many countries have you been invited to by participants who work for you?
Every single one, and we've had over 40 countries. Because they're eager, they want to share their culture, and the little treats, which is so generous, like chocolates and things like that. They want to share, and cooking their own food and all of that. So every single participant has invited us to their country.
How about you, Brandy?
I would say the same. I don't know that it's been quite 40, but I will say that there's always an invitation after the experience. And, often after folks have left, they still, like I mentioned earlier, continue to share their life stories with us in many ways. So it's a great program for not only the individuals participating in this capacity, but for the individuals that are there. I mean, because
And also maybe another thing that people don't really rely on and they're not aware of it, and how this program is also impacting their families. Because after you travel on the program, like probably next is going to be your cousins, your brothers and sisters, and then their brothers and sisters, your neighbors, your followers on social media, because
you get to change others'
you
lives.
inspire them
Absolutely.
to travel all around the thing, and you make like those kind of things that seems impossible, that is just like possible now.
absolutely.
That's a great way to say it.
I think that's what this program is all about.
Yeah.
We get lots of emails that say, "Oh, my niece is now graduating," and
We've
wants
had
to be in this
agencies,
program.
their nieces or their nephews have come. We just had one last summer, and they had a fantastic program. But yeah,
Yeah, well, guys, so thank you so much for your time. I know,
you.
like, we're shutting you a little bit down, but we're on the clock. We're trying to not like make that long program so people can stay tuned.
Yeah, you got to keep their attention.
Like,
Yeah.
if you ever like watching like a podcast, it's like, oh, an hour and 30 minutes. Like, heck no, like, I'm not gonna do that.
Not doing
So
Joe
we're trying
Rogan
to
experience.
keep them short so they can feel like they're
Yeah.
like actually advancing and learning.
Yep.
Your presence here today was like so valuable for us, and hopefully a lot of our followers are gonna enjoy it and probably start like spreading more the word about your host companies, which are like one of the best places for working on the summer. And also, like, they're bringing their family members to us. Just remember, like, we're BBB. Oh, one of the things that I forgot to tell you, like, do you know why we stand for BBB?
No.
Do you know, like, our primary name was Brave, Bold, and Brilliant Student Center, but it was too long to remember, so it's like BBBSC now. And the shortest part is just like BBB. But once again, thank you so much for coming, and I hope to see you again, Guy, and hopefully you're going to have a safe flight back.
Yes.
Thank you. It's an honor being here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Gracias a todos ustedes también por escucharnos esta vez, los queremos mucho y no se pierdan el episodio la próxima semana. Se cuidan, un abrazo. Listo.